Really interesting point, that, isn't it? Yeah, in terms of because it falls into that bracket and under that
Yeah.
particular piece of regulation, you might have to, well, you will have to prioritize those over maybe certain things which, in theory, you would have thought you'd deem higher priority, but just not falling in within that sort of category. Which yeah, and you're right. I suppose the fear is that the quite public reviews of performance which don't sort of match with what the regulator's looking for, and then everyone sort of knows about it, and that impacts everything, doesn't, and sort of starts to snowball, doesn't it? Which is another sort of battle, I guess. But what's your view on that particular element, Leon, from your perspective of working with quite a few at once, when we're sort of discussing how TSMs kind of fall into this as well?
Yeah, exactly what John said. And we call it the can opener, as it is,
Mm.
because it's the window into the stats for the regulator, just to see what's happening across the wider perspective. And I was just looking at some of the 23-24 perception surveys, and like the average repair satisfaction's down at 66.4%. So that's going to be a key area that they're going to be looking at. For the first time, overall satisfaction has dropped below 70%. So the regulator is not going to be particularly happy. And I think, if anything, the thumb screws are going to get a little bit tighter. The TSMs aren't the be all and end all. It should be part of a triangulation of areas that you should be looking at, because the TSMs are sort of the perception surveys. But you also need to combine that with your transactional ones on a repair by repair basis, but also bring in your complaints as well, and triangulate those three areas, because they should overlay and be able to point you in the areas where you're failing. So I think, as a takeaway point for people, just don't take it as TSMs in its isolation. Look at the bigger picture. To say that the stats aren't looking particularly good at the moment. And another area that we sort of get asked about is obviously the annual survey. I know it's a bit more difficult, excuse me, for those smaller organisations with limited resources, but where you can, you should start to look at doing at least a quarterly review, because then you've got a chance before the end of the year, if you've got stats that are coming in particularly bad, you've got a chance then to target those areas where the percentages are falling down, and then actually start to put in an action plan.